Hello, welcome to Inkscape for Teachers. I'm Geoff Phillips, and this episode deals with creating exponential graphs using Inkscape's inbuilt function plotter extension. When you try to plot, say, y equals 2 to the x, the function plotter doesn't like that, so we need another syntax to enter, and that's as follows. You might want to take a note of that. Effectively, I guess it's a change of base method. Anyway, if I show you what I mean, I go into the function plotter. I'll just create another graph down here. First we need a rectangle. Look, I tend to use a grid first, makes it easier to set up scales later on. So I'll go View, Page Grid, and with a rectangle and the snapping to paths and custom nodes and the grid here turned on, I'll click and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about a 10 by 10 grid. I can check that by clicking there and use 100 millimeters. So you can do it on any grid, but I might as well stick with this. Now if I go to Extensions, Render and Function Plotter, you can see some settings I've got in here, from -5 to 5 on the x-axis, -10 up to 40 on the y-axis. 300 points is a good number of points, and there's my change of base. I've actually got a negative in there because I was wanting to plot a third to the power of x, but I'll change it back to, let's say, 2 to the power of x. So this should plot me y equals 2 to the power of x. Actually, I'll cut that, Control X, and just show you what happens if I try to go 2 to the power of x directly. I can try a live preview and I get all sorts of errors thrown up at me, so that's no good. So I'll just paste back the workaround, and you can see the preview there does work. Each vertical division is 5, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 30, a bit less than half the 5, so about 32, which would be 2 to the power of 5, so that all looks okay. I'll apply and close, and I've set up this so that it drops in the axes and the graph as one object, but Control Shift K breaks it apart, or you can go to Path, break apart down here, and now I can click on the graph itself individually and change it. If I wanted to change it to a pink colour, shift and click that, and it just changes the graph. Under fill and stroke I could bump that up, say 0.7, put a rounded end on it, and there's my exponential graph. If I wanted another graph while I'm at it on the same grid, just select the same rectangle. So I'll select that rectangle, go back to Extensions, Render, Function Plotter, and if I wanted, let's say, 3 to the power of x, I could do that. Live preview will show me that's a slightly steeper graph. Apply and close. If I click on that, it's put it all in as one graphic. It extends up there because I've clipped off the higher values, but if I go Control Shift K, and you can see there it is. It goes up pretty high here. Now one trick for clipping the graph is if I click on this and Control Shift K to make sure it's all broken apart. And now just click on the rectangle separately and I'll bring it to the front so it's actually above this other graph here. Now shift click the graph and the rectangle above will cut through the graph and clip it. So if I go Path, Cut Path, you can see there are sections it's cut into. Click away, then click on the bit that I want to get rid of, delete, and I've cut it there. So that's my graph of y equals 3 to the x, and it's separate. Bump it up to 0.7 and perhaps give it a red fill or another colour. Shift click that, rounded end, and I've got two graphs on the one axis. I can similarly thicken up the axes, shift click those. 0.5 I usually use for axes. Put an arrowhead, something like that on them, and you can see there I've got my graphs much the same as I had up there. But there's the syntax, and there's also a method for doing multiple graphs on the one set of axes. Once again, thanks for bearing with us. Hope that was of use to you, and I'll look forward to talking to you next time. Bye for now.